Good morning. How are you doing? This is Heather with another update for my Moldbreaker Diaries on my detox process from mold and healing from mold sickness and biotoxin illness. Today is the 30th of August, 2024. It's been quite a interesting month for me, and I think some of the things that I've learned from this are good to log, and hopefully they're useful for other people. I've been working to heal from mold sickness, a known diagnosis of mold sickness, for 5 years now, almost to a day at this point. And it's been very slow. It's been complicated by a lot of things, including COVID, including financial distress and inability to kind of do the things I need to do in real time, and due to unwittingly selecting contaminated homes to live in that have slowed down my process immensely. And I'm currently again at that crossroads of discovering that my home has elevated levels of Stachybotrys, which is the black mold, which is very harmful to human health, and also that my work location, my new job that I got less than a year ago, also has contamination of the Aspergillus penicillium strains, triple the levels that would be considered high, and chitomium, which sort of indicates water damage in the building, at levels that are wildly high. I think high is considered maybe 4 on the scale for this lab test, and I'm coming in at 400 at the place where I work, so it's bad. I'm now in the process of figuring out well, what do I do with that, and currently starting with the home, because the job is what's going to fund getting the home. So I'm starting there. Meanwhile, I mentioned in a previous video that I am going to be able to work with my Washington doctor as a professional consult to my local naturopathic doctor. Both of them are mold literate and Lyme literate. But my Washington doctor uses a process called autonomic response testing, which really honed in on what the body needs right in the moment as a protocol. So you may have, for example, and if you look at past videos, you may have 20 antifungals you can put somebody on. And a naturopath may or may not be sort of guessing based on symptoms, whereas autonomic response testing can really pinpoint what the body resonates with at the moment. So, and I started on that process last year, and within a couple of months I was feeling dramatically better, and tried to find someone in Western Pennsylvania or someone that would be licensed to work with me as a resident in Pennsylvania, and had no luck. So I'm really grateful to my doctor. Having said that, the first appointment was supposed to be 2 weeks ago, and we were stood up by my Washington doctor. Turns out there was an accident that happened, and it was all reasons, but I still have not gotten my first protocol months later. I just got word a day or two ago from my local doctor that yes, my Washington doctor has done the ART. They use a voice sample. When you do it by distance, you sing and you speak, and that's how they get the information. I know if you're not familiar with this world of energy and that kind of stuff, it might seem super weird, but trust me when I tell you that this is a very solid thing to try if you are stuck in your process. And yeah, so she's done it. She has a protocol. They both like the plan. I'm just waiting to hear from them when I can schedule and how much it's going to cost me to do this process, because I'm guessing it's going to be double the cost. So that's in process. Meanwhile, I was also in New York City last week. I was in Brooklyn doing a repeat pet sit that I've done a couple of times before, and was really curious to know that if I would have any changes in symptoms being away from my apartment and being away from work. And it turns out, yes, I did. The neurological symptoms reduced dramatically. My knee pain reduced dramatically. I think there's a couple of reasons for that. I'm pretty excited. One is I tried to get my 10,000 steps in every day. And after the first 2 days, just like I was crushed by it. The third day, for some reason, everything just sort of kicked in and started working, which made me feel like, oh, maybe my body is actually ready for more strength building now. Whereas before I would just, turn into a pancake if I try to do too much activity. So I'm encouraged that maybe muscle is as much the answer as anything. I haven't had, I had migraines once earlier this year, and then 3 weeks later had another one, and then I passed the 3-week mark and thought I was, in the clear, and then I had one in week 4, and it was like multi-day. It was terrible. So I'm not outside of the 3 and 4 week window for a repeat migraine, but so far, I guess I'm 2 weeks out from that, or 3, maybe I'm 3 weeks out. Anyway, that's sort of another one of the main symptoms. And then I've had a lot of digestive upset. So again, there's still things to resolve, but the change in the knee pain, like it still gets stiff when I try to stand up, but like walking is not uncomfortable now. Yeah, and also again, encouraging to know that getting out of my environments made a difference. And which helps me see how important and promising it can be to do this really hard work of relocating. This will be my 7th time in 5 years. And if I have to change jobs, I think it's like my 4th or 5th job also, overall in the same amount of time. So these are, and every time you do these things, it's a major life change, and that puts additional stress on your body. So it's a mixed bag, but I'm still, you have to persist and be patient. And that brings me to my last observation about this past month that will kind of go out there into woo-woo land. But again, I think, trust me when I tell you that if you're stuck in your process, you got to look at this stuff. And what I'm talking about is your emotions, your feelings, what you're blocking in terms of your feelings, and your energy, what you believe, what may have come in from, and forgive me if you can't go here with me, but from past lives, from alternative timelines. There's an energy component to this. And if you are having trouble with environmental illness, your boundaries are different than other people's. And I believe at this point, because of the people that I've seen on this journey, online, virtually, it's a cohort of people that are, I think, called to a really intense experience of working with contemporary environments and contemporary society. There's an initiation process to this, and it's asking more of you than what I think another kind of person with another purpose in life is being called to and asked to do. And to not address that is going to prolong the healing. And let me explain. I went to see a woman who's an intuitive. She also does tarot and energy work. And I've worked with her very briefly and pretty casually, maybe once a year for the last 4 years, or 3 years, maybe 3 or 4 years. I can't remember. It's like maybe 4 years. And when I get sort of stuck, I know that she'll kind of dig in and give me 1 or 2 little things to help me. This time when I met with her, she did this energy balance process that uses straight up energy medicine and calling on guides, and because the mold problem for me was the lessons that I need to learn in terms of why do I always have bad landlords? Why am I repeating this cycle? Why is this continuing? I know I want to get better. I know et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And she's like, you have to see this process is done. She's like, you are actually done with this. Just get conscious about the lessons of what you're learning from this. Make that conscious, make that real. And, she said, if you want my input is you cannot tolerate toxic environments. Like, you have to make a choice. And at every moment in your life, when you are asked to withstand something toxic that is against what you know is good for you and in alignment with who you are, you have all these opportunities to portray that. And get conscious with that so that when these opportunities come, you can make the choice to stand with yourself and not betray yourself. And that felt like a good lesson. And then she did an energy thing where it was like a kind of like an affirmation statement almost, to sort of call on the mold lessons, in all the other spaces to be done, to stick a fork in it, basically. And then to go about and do the physical work to tie up the lesson. And I'm telling you, I do that made a difference to me. And it's not, she's like, it can take 6 months sometimes, and you have to do the work. It's not like you can just go, oh, be gone mold, and then it's gone. You have to really dig in and try to figure out your lessons. You have to really dig in and try to figure out your feelings. What is it you're not feeling? What is it you're not doing for yourself? What is truly out of alignment? And I feel like people who, I'm one of these people that does believe your soul comes into a life, into a body with some objectives, with some experiences that you get to have while you're here. And I'm not saying that people come in here and go like, oh, I'm going to get cancer. I think it's more like people come into this life and your soul wants to experience patience or perseverance or self-worth or integrity or unconditional love or some of these broader, broader human themes. And that can play out in any kind of way. So, if you make a series of choices, life will give you the opportunity to learn the thing your soul wants you to learn. And that learning doesn't end. You get chances to do it over and over again, but you also get a chance, I believe, to clear the slate and start over. And I don't mean in the sense that you are a lot more powerful to be a creator in your life. Like all of these things like astrology, et cetera, things that we would say, show you patterns, diagnoses, psychology, blah, blah, blah. All of those things can help illuminate. But at the end of the day, you're actually stronger than that. You actually have more choice and more agency than that. And it's, I think, a way to learn that. So for anybody who is in my position of having a really hard time getting out of the loops and the patterns and healing from the mold, and, which of course is going to be foundational to doing things like healing from Lyme, et cetera, and putting things into remission and being able to have the toolkit to know what to do when the symptoms come up again. It's not going to be a perfect life, right? There may be real damage and it may be permanent, but the healing is possible, and living in alignment with yourself and doing your stuff, doing what you're here for is possible. You just have to, I don't know, this has been a sort of a transitional month for me in kind of learning this on a deeper level. I'm excited about the protocol I'm going to get through ART and see how that pushes my physical body forward. And I'm going to continue. The person who recommended this energy thing, she gave me the title of the book, which I bought, and I'm working through the book on my own. It's been really interesting. I may link the name of the book below. I may not. We'll see. But thank you for listening, and I hope this gives you something to think about as you continue your healing process. Take care.